98.7 WGBH Boston. Online at WGBHnews.org. Boston Public Radio.
Edward Snowden rocks South by Southwest. Today, Monday, March 10th. This is The World. I'm Marco Werman. The global tech crowd in Boston embraces NSA leaker Edward Snowden as he appeared via video link from Moscow.
There was even cheers at some points. A very supportive crowd.
We'll hear what Snowden had to say at South by Southwest. Also today, the 19th century Ukrainian poet Taras Shevchenko and how he's remembered today.
He became a symbol for the desire to be free, for the call of Ukraine.
And later, how a journalist helped a pastor and an imam in Nigeria begin to reconcile.
He was a respected figure, and he said to both of them, "You two alone can stop the violence here. You need to talk to each other," and he just walked away.
Now those two men who were once enemies are working together to try and end religious violence in Nigeria.
BBC News with David Austin. The Malaysian authorities have decided to search over a much wider area to try to locate an airliner that disappeared less than an hour into its flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. 3 days after the aircraft went missing, an international effort involving ships and planes has not found any wreckage, causing growing frustration for the families of the 239 people on board. Most of them came from China. John Sudworth reports from Beijing.
The search area has been widened, now includes the waters on both sides of the Malaysian peninsula. It's a huge expanse of sea, and it shows that the authorities still have no idea what's happened to the missing plane. They've released some very limited information about the two men who boarded the flight using stolen passports. They are not of Asian appearance. The travel agent who booked their tickets to Amsterdam via Beijing says they did not specifically request flight MH370, but took it because it was the cheapest route to Europe.
Pro-Russian forces are continuing to consolidate their hold on Ukraine's Crimea Peninsula, meeting very little resistance. A group of up to 30 men in military uniform have taken over a military hospital in the administrative capital, Simferopol. Our correspondent John Simpson was there.
Around midday, a group of Russian soldiers wearing military camouflage without any badges of rank or unit arrived at the military hospital. They allowed 300 seriously ill patients to stay, but sent the outpatients home. While I was waiting outside in the street, the hospital director came out, still wearing his Ukrainian army uniform and looking very stressed and anxious. He said he'd been asked at gunpoint to surrender, and when he'd refused, he'd been taken to a vehicle and held prisoner in it.
Meanwhile, the Organisation for Security and Cooperation in Europe has said it cannot respond to a reported request from Crimea for observers to monitor the referendum on joining Russia, scheduled to take place on Sunday. The OSCE said it could only deal with member states, in this case Ukraine. Earlier, the Russian foreign minister said Russia has prepared proposals to resolve the crisis in Ukraine. Jordan has called for an investigation after Israeli troops shot dead a Palestinian-Jordanian judge at the King Hussein border crossing. From there, Yolande Bell has this one.
The dead man has been identified as a 38-year-old magistrate, Raed Zeta, who worked in Amman but was originally from Nablus in the West Bank. Palestinian and Jordanian authorities have strongly condemned the killing, and Jordan's foreign ministry has summoned the Israeli ambassador. The Israeli military says Mr. Zeta called out "God is great" in Arabic and tried to seize a soldier's weapon, and that its troops shot at him. It says they then opened fire again when he tried to strangle a soldier.
World News from the BBC.
And from the WGBH Radio Newsroom in Boston, I'm Deb Daigle with the local stories we're following. The MBTA's D-Line service has shut down for the rest of the day after one of the cars derailed earlier, according to transit police who say they put